Oh, hello there, and welcome to another fireside chat. Wait a minute, that's not what we're doing. Welcome to Vinny's Take. Tonight, we're going to talk about what's going on in the world of sports right now, and I'm not talking about spring training. I'm not talking about the impending March Madness, Go Duke. I'm not talking about the football free agency that hasn't started yet. I'm talking about the sports panic over the coronavirus. I'm talking about the world skiing champions being canceled in Italy. Granted, Italy's got a lot more problems going on with the coronavirus than some nations. I'm talking about Assumption College hosting the Division III women's hockey playoffs and deciding to go on with the tournament without fans. I'm talking about the NBA, the NHL, Major League Soccer, and Major League Baseball all closing their lockers to the media. I'm talking about an out and out panic over the coronavirus. It's not just sports. Ireland, of all places, Ireland has canceled all St. Patrick's Day parades. All. You hear what I said? All St. Patrick's Day parades in Ireland have been canceled. Let me take my handy dandy little smartphone and just put it in the search bar. Coronavirus sports. Not the boards. Sports. Sports. My big giant thumbs. All right. Yes, right here. USA Today reports that Major League Baseball, the NBA, the NHL, and Major League Soccer have all closed their locker rooms to media over coronavirus concerns. So, what exactly is the media going to locking them out of the locker rooms? What exactly is that going to change? No, honestly, I know you don't necessarily know when you're infected because it sits dormant for some time. But I haven't heard anything about the NFL yet. But that's probably more panic is going to happen over this. LeBron James was interviewed about what it would be like to playing NBA games in empty arenas, and he absolutely said he would refuse to. He would refuse to because he plays for the fans. Now, I'm not a LeBron James fan. Everybody knows if they watch my channel that I'm a Michael Jordan guy. But I agree with LeBron James on that. You play for the fans. So if you can't have the fans, what's the point of playing? First of all, if you start playing in empty arenas, where are you going to make your money to pay the players? Without the fans, there is no sports leagues. Without you and me and everybody else that sits here and watches the games, like right now, I'm watching the Buffalo Sabres beating the Washington Capitals 2-1 late in the third period, and it's a full arena in Buffalo. KeyBank Arena is full. What would that be like without them? It doesn't make any possible sense to play the games without the fans. Now, the NFL, first of all, they wouldn't cancel them. If it's that bad, they would move them. They would do what they did with like Hurricane Katrina in 2005, where the Saints could not play at home, so they were sent on the road for the entire season. If for some reason the West Coast gets that bad with coronavirus infections, Seattle, San Francisco, and the LA teams would end up having to have their games moved. But I have not heard that as a contingency plan or anything. What else do we got? How the coronavirus is affecting sports leagues and events. But the LA Times, I'm sure the LA Times reports everything truthful and to the point. They never would lie. Let's see. Yeshiva and Worcester Polytechnical Institute play the first round of the NCAA Division III men's basketball tournament at Johns Hopkins University Friday with no fans. Where is the camera? See that picture? An empty arena. So it's like practice. Practice. What are we talking about? Practice. What is a game? Sports leagues and federations across the world are addressing the outbreak. Most major leagues are monitoring the situation with yet to announce actual stipulations. But let's see. Okay, leagues in other parts of the world are taking action by canceling events and playing in empty stadiums. Southern California. Okay, here we go. LA County officials. This is again from the LA Times. LA County officials state that they've discussed the possibility of banning spectators from attending sporting events in Southern California in an attempt to slow the spread of coronavirus. Here's the problem with that, though, is we don't know how it's spreading, how fast it's spreading, because it can sit dormant in somebody for up to 14 days. That's why people are being put in 14-day quarantines. 14-day quarantines to see whether or not you have the infection. Especially the testing kits aren't readily available yet. They're being made available, hopefully at a quicker pace than what's expected, but they're not, for the most part, readily available just yet. I haven't seen any of this, Mr. Taylor. Of course, I didn't work today, and usually I get a lot of my Sports Center stuff when I'm at work. I don't have time when I'm at home. So I didn't see anything in regards to the NFL today. And I monitor the situation as I run several sports groups on Facebook and have not seen anything coming across. But if you've heard it, let's see. In a joint statement from the NBA, Major League Baseball, MLS, and NHL, they announced the clubhouses would be open only to players and essential team employees. Well, okay, so you're locking out the media. What happens if the NHL or the one of the players gets it and you don't even know? What if somebody who knew somebody who knew somebody who knew somebody? Orange Hat. First of all, before I go any further, I would like to thank Orange Hat Reviews, his live stream earlier. He gave a shout out to me, and I'm going to get to what he was talking about, what I mentioned on his stream in a little bit. But so give a shout out back to Orange Hat Reviews. He reviews what's going on in the world of media, especially in thriller type genre, science fiction, Star Wars, comic book stuff. I'm sure he's done other things. So go over to his channel, click subscribe, and follow him for more information if you want to hear about what's going on in the world of media. Me, I do sports, so I'm relating the coronavirus and how it helps me, or what helps me, how it works either for sports or against sports. ESPN obtained the memo on Tuesday advising players not to shake hands with fans and not to use pens or markers from fans to sign autographs. So at least if you're Joe Horn, you'd have a pen tucked in your sock, right? Or was it, it was Joe Horn. No, Joe Horn had the cell phone. Who had the pen tucked in their sock? The Terrell Owens? Let's see, we did say those teams might do away games. Well, teams can't make the decisions on their own. Now, the league can make the decisions and teams could recommend something, but the teams themselves don't have a say as far as their schedule goes. And I really doubt many players would opt out of playing because that's how they get paid. But again, how is it spread? Evidently, it's spread through contact. Now, from what I read, and I forget where I got this from, but I think it was from somebody's friend who was a physician. So take this with a grain of salt, but it can live on metal up to 12 hours. If you sneeze, it can travel about 10 feet before it dissipates and hits the ground. It can live on the skin without contact. So if you touch somebody who has it and then you put your hands to your eyes or mouth or something, it can live on skin for about the same amount of time. So that's why they're recommending washing hands vigorously. And of course, you should have been washing your hands anyway. If you're not washing your hands on a regular basis, how are you living life? Take care of yourself. You should be, especially during flu season, you should be washing your hands. Now, is the panic justified? Well, maybe it's justified in the aspect of wanting to stop the spread of something that they don't know a lot about. But on the same hand, maybe it's a little overkill for leagues at this point to be playing without fans. This Division III basketball game or the Division III hockey, the women's hockey tournament, going on without fans. It's early on still. I know they're doing it to stop the spread, but at the same time, people got to make plans. People have tickets purchased. I know my friends and I started a tradition last year of going to an NFL game in the fall, something I hadn't done in about 15 years, and it was great. And now you got to start thinking, well, are there even going to be NFL games to go to? Here, the U.S. Olympic and Paralympic Committee in 2020 Team USA Media Summit. which is scheduled to take place at the Intercontinental downtown Los Angeles, has been canceled. Here's something on the XFL. Again, Los Angeles Times, take it for what it's worth. The league announced, and I know I'm touching my face because I have an itch, but I will wash my hands, trust me. The league announced it has launched a task force to closely monitor the spread of the coronavirus. It is also in regular contact with health and public safety officials. Now, on the same hand of the XFL, Vince McMahon, who owns the XFL and the WWE, the questions have been brought up about WrestleMania and whether WrestleMania, which is a worldwide event being held in Tampa this year, where people from all over the world travel, whether it will even be held. Of course, you have the potential main events of Brock Lesnar versus Goldberg in a battle of the pediatrics, and Becky Lynch versus Shayna Baszler. They're at this point. Oh, the Capitals just scored to tie it up. Washington and Buffalo now tied at 2 with 6:49 to go in the third. As of right now, and I believe the schedule for WrestleMania is April the 4th, 13th, 6th, April 7th, I believe is WrestleMania. It's still scheduled to go on as planned. So, NASCAR, let's see, what does NASCAR say? In a statement released Wednesday, blah, 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 unchanged monitors the outbreak. So NASCAR is not freaking out. IndyCar, sanctioning body said in a statement Wednesday, closely monitoring but do not expect any changes. The next race is in St. Petersburg, Florida. The PGA, this is an interesting one because golf goes, they don't have real close contact with fans, but they do have, fans right up near you. PGA Series in China, delayed the start of the season. That makes sense. This is China, Wuhan is where the outbreak occurred. Now, while I'm on that, I'm no conspiracy theorist, but what was going on in China before the outbreaks? Anybody know? About anti-communist protests and pro-democratic protests? I don't know. I'm just saying. LPGA's canceled 3 events. Where were they? Last, Singapore, Thailand, and Blue Bay on the Hainan Island in China. Okay, well, you can't really argue with those moves. Horse racing. Monitoring the situation and taking necessary health and safety precautions. Oh, here's the big one, the Olympics. The 2020 Olympics in Tokyo, Japan. The IOC insisted on numerous occasions that the Summer Games in Tokyo are scheduled to begin July 24th and will take place as planned. But officials in Greece have barred spectators from traditional lighting of the Olympic torch scheduled for Thursday. That's to start, I believe. Oh, because Greece is the home of the Olympics, ancient Greece, so they must be that they light the torch on Thursday and then start running. Now, they're not going to be able to run through China, I would imagine. That's going to definitely alter their plans there. Premier League has blah, blah, blah. They have a contingency plan if large gatherings get banned. Where's the Premier League? Hey, Google. In what country does the Premier League take place? Or countries?
Sorry, I don't have any information about that.
I believe it's Europe. So again, that makes sense. Being closely connected. Europe and Asia actually, are connected, even though they're different continents. So these are more soccer leagues. Asian Football Confederation World Cup qualifiers in Asia were postponed. Oh, thank you, Kupsta, England. So, and again, England's an island, but it's still in Europe. And you didn't know when the outbreak took place. You didn't really know how it spread. And, people getting from China to Italy and Iran seem to be the biggest culprits now. Happy day, Dinosaur 8000. Thanks for coming over from the Orange Hat channel. I appreciate it. The panic, in my opinion, is a bit overblown, and I'm not trying to relate this to the flu and all that because people are getting offended by that, whatever. But I'm just saying that let's slow down. Let's find a way to contain this. If it means quarantining people, whatever. Let's just the instant cancellation of things like the St. Patrick's Day parades in Ireland. All St. Patrick's Day parades in Ireland were canceled. Let me see if I can find something on that. Just to close. St. Patrick's. I misspelled Patrick's. Patrick's Day parades. Jesus. My big old fingers. Okay. South Boston has canceled the St. Patrick's Day parade. CNN Ireland. Here we go. CNN, because they're full of real news. CNN. Okay, Italy has canceled all sporting events until early April. Again, Italy is having a much bigger problem right now than we are, so I guess it's not much necessarily panic there. In America, it's maybe a proactive panic, one could say. CNN, it's better to be smart than lucky. Well, I guess the luck of the Irish isn't playing in there, huh? A number of Ireland's St. Patrick's Day parades have been canceled over fears of mass gatherings. The festival in Ireland takes place annually from the 13th to the 17th. The head of the Irish government of Varadkar has also said the virus cannot be stopped, but it can be slowed. The virus cannot be stopped, but it can be slowed. Oh, if you do figure out a way to stop the spread, it can be stopped then, right? I fear what's going to end up happening is Orange Hat mentioned earlier that they're trying to shut down the whole economy. What's going to end up happening is everybody's going to be quarantined, and it's going to end up being, the whole economy is going to be shut down, and they're trying to weaponize it politically. Both sides are going to try and weaponize this politically, trying to say that one side's inept or whatever. And that's why, in my opinion, sporting events right now are panicking. Sporting leagues are panicking. And although the idea of an empty arena match may sound cool in the WWE when it was Mankind and The Rock, and the idea of an empty arena NBA playoff series, not quite the same thing. Not cool. Okay, what was this last time you watched WWE? It was WWF. And Austin had 50% of the corporation. All right, so that was in 1999 when the storyline where he had become Linda McMahon had signed over her shares to him, and then he lost it in the match, and miraculously Linda McMahon ended up being in charge again for a while, and it was never explained. Okay, that's Josh Allen with the coronavirus. That's nothing that's been reported on. I think that would be all over Facebook, considering he's an NFL starting quarterback. So we'll move on. One more thing I want to talk about. In the area I am, in upstate New York, there is a channel, and I'm not going to give away the name because I'm not trying to get people to follow this channel. I have 257 subscribers, and I know that my channel is geared more towards sports and video gaming, so it's a hard niche to find. Granted, that's fine. We do discuss politics. We are conservative. We don't go overboard, but politics do come up, and that's, it is what it is. So that's why I struggle to get viewers. No big deal. But there's a channel in the Watertown area where a guy is spreading basically nothing but hate. He came out with a video recently, anti-LGBTQ. Now, regardless of how you feel, whether there's an agenda or whatever, his wasn't based on that. His whole premise and video was just thumping hate and preaching hate. And again, I'm not going to give away the name of this video because he doesn't need any more traffic. My main problem isn't that he has the right to do this, because he does. He has a right to be an idiot just like any of us do. But he is out there saying, I'm sorry, I have a chat that's going nuts right now. People talking back and forth. He has a right to get out and say any stupidity that he wants to. But the fact that a good, clean, wholesome channel like Vinny X Wolf has 257 subscribers and averages about 15 views per video, and I'm not crying, that's what I get. Whereas a hate-filled channel like his gets hundreds of views per video, and he has more subscribers. Now, given he's getting more thumbs down than he's getting thumbs up, so people are probably following, but why do we do this? We do the same thing on Twitter. you end up following people you can't stand just to see what they tweet next. I don't follow Alyssa Milano. I can't stand her politics. So I have no need to see what she's typing or what she's tweeting about. Same with Bette Midler or Paul Reiner. I have no need to see what they're tweeting. And besides, enough people that I do follow share their stuff anyway, so I see the idiocy that comes out of their mouths. Oh, Buffalo scored. Holtby let one in. 2:48 to go. Montour scores. It's now 3-2 Sabres. Go Sabres. So, this has been a bit of a lengthy stream. I didn't have a real plan going in. I just wanted to talk about my feelings are stop panicking. Dr. Drew got on, I believe it was maybe The View or something, and he talked about how the media is really to blame for overhyping the fear and panic in the coronavirus. Learn the facts. Get the facts. Wash your hands. And yes, you might have to think about that trip to China that you were planning on taking. That might not be in the cards this year. Why are people traveling to Iran anyway? Not even our military is in Iran. We're in Iraq. Why are people traveling to Iran? That baffles me. They don't like us. If you want to go to a Middle East, there's other Middle Eastern countries you can go to that don't have the hatred toward us that Iran does. I understand traveling to Italy. I personally don't want to leave the country, but that's because I'm a homebody. China's a communist country. Why do you want to travel there? Unless you're doing some kind of relief aid or something. But they don't need it. Their economy up until this point was doing fine. So why are we studying in China? Why are we doing this? I don't know. To each their own. You follow your community for the most part. Also, some opposing viewpoints. Good to try to find common ground. Yeah, but a guy like this, he's thumping the Bible. He's out there. He's using the Bible as a prop. He's a flat earther also, so he's using the Bible as a prop to get his viewpoints across. I could go on and on about the stupidity of the flat earth principles. But it's just stupid. It's just, if you have that kind of hate, fine. Speak it. It's your right. I was down in New York City for the Bills and Giants game, and after the game was over, we went into Madison Square Garden to watch Lucha Libre, AAA wrestling. Lucha Libre, hey? So after that was over, it was about an hour and a half before our Uber was to come get us, or our limo. We got a limo. So we walked into downtown in Times Square, and there was this preacher standing there thumping his Bible, talking about hate, talking about sin, and there was a few people listening to him. But for the most part, people were ignoring him because, and rightfully so, because his message was that of hate. And it just wasn't, but he stood there, he had a microphone and everything, so you could tell this wasn't something he just decided to do. On the other hand, there were also these women in New York City that go around topless with painting all over them. And they pose for pictures for $20 and, they pretend not to speak very good to try to trick you into spending your money on them. They're not prostitutes or anything. They're using their bodies to make money. They're covered, but they're not really covered. Well, as you get down closer into Times Square, they tend to thin out. But there was a couple that made it all the way down there, and they ended up, one stood right next to him. And he starts crouching, I love a garbage life. It's just like, dude, just because somebody doesn't have the same viewpoints or values as you doesn't mean that you're right or she's right. You're both trying to make money, whether you're trying to get donations for your speech or she's trying to make money using her breasts as a way to do it. That's New York City. I wouldn't want to live there personally, but I'm not going to bash the whole city in the way of life. I just love quiet. So that's why I live where I live. Anyway, all right, so let's move on past the coronavirus and move on past hate and all that. And just, I'm not whining and sitting here preaching for views. I get it. If you view me, you view me. If you like me, you do. If you don't, you don't. I don't, it is what it is. I've never been one to say, whine because, you don't like me and you're not doing what I want. That happens. Shit happens, I'm not going to sit here and I'm not going to preach hate and all that. I have my own viewpoints, and if you agree with them, great. If you don't agree with them, too bad. I will continue doing Vinny's Take. I will continue doing Stack of the Future, and I will tell us to get an Oscar. That's a good one. I will continue to do my retro reviews. In fact, on Wednesday, I'm going to have a Vinny's retro review talking about the 1990 NCAA tournament, and especially talking about Duke and UConn, a fantastic game. It's on YouTube. If you get a chance to watch it before then, it's about an hour and a half long, so you know what I'm talking about. Or you might want to find me on Facebook because you might find a community that might watch it together. I don't know. That's about it tonight. So 25 good minutes. Thanks. I had more, and I would again.
My calculations are correct. When this baby hits 88 miles per hour, you're gonna see some
Serious shit. Oh, the regular, the Sabres and Capitals are going overtime. Okay. So, again, thank you to Orange Hat Reviews for bringing me some viewers. I noticed some names that were similar from your channel to mine. I appreciate it. You know, we're not necessarily the same type of content, but at the same time, we both have an idea and we both have a method to speak it. So, with free agency starting up later this month, if we don't panic and cancel the football season, I'll be talking free agency. The draft is next month. Where will Tom Brady go, and who really gives a shit? You know. So until then, I'm Vinny Vincent. God bless America.